There we go.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's quite all right. All right then. So I'm going to take some notes while we go. So we got Cynthia and Judy on the line, and we are live on WROK. So let's call the sponsorship meeting to order at 6:01 on October 6th. 6:01, October 6th. Call to.
Good seeing you, Judy. Again.
Saw you earlier today.
I know.
I was gonna.
What's that?
I was just going to look up. Go ahead. I figured I should call up our custom ink fundraiser while we're here.
Yep. I looked at it today. It looks like we have 31 and so far. And I'm going to do another social media push and a different graphic than last time.
Okay.
Also with a slightly different message. So that is.
Well, I'm going to turn on some lights here. Hold on.
All right. Cynthia, I'm going to pull up the sponsorship decks that we had from this year, the one pager in the deck. Sponsor. No. Okay, there we go. Okay, so for sponsorship, I think so. The first thing is I had sent out my standard message to my my former compatriots at both GM and FCA in their marketing departments. They are very very hard to get a hold of, so I'm waiting on them. But I also have reached out to a friend of mine who runs the it's called the Detroit Bureau. It was it's a local, well, national now because it's all online, but it was a local publication about the auto industry, and have asked him for any direct connections, specifically within marketing and PR departments, which is usually who handles the intake of requests for something like this. But so let me back up and let you know what I did find out. So I had talked directly to the Tuskegee Air guys out of Detroit. What was his name? Steve Tupper. So we'd spoken to him before, and for last year, but obviously that was never came about. He was very excited. He said, yes, they're wide open. And in terms of sponsorship stuff, it sounded pretty much like what we were thinking of between, he said that they have 4 of those gliders, one T6G, which is like a full, World War II era plane, and then 2 Stearman, which are biplanes, like even pre-World War II. And he said, yes, they're open. Yes, they can do it. He said, if you want everything, like every one of their aircraft, the full squadron, he said that he's having a meeting tonight and he'll try to work out an actual quote for me. But he said, if you want every bell and whistle and everything like that, it still wouldn't be more than 2,500. For the flyover. And he said, obviously we can pare that down depending on, what you have, what your budget is, what you can get. Ideally, I find out what the max is, and that's what we hit certain organizations for. Because he said that not only can we have, it's not just a flyover. He said they do like 4 passes in different formations, and they can end with the missing man one where it kind of veers off. He also said that if you are looking for sponsorship for this, one of the things that they do is they also do the River Days, the Detroit event, where they do the flyover on the Detroit River, and they do the passes there, and they go right down low over the water. And so they have a tent right there near the hangar as well. Or they have a tent on the river, and they have a place near the hangar. He said, if you have somebody who comes in, a Royal Oak Ford or something like that, and they've ponied up for it, that they can have all the VIP passes for Detroit River Days that they want to like sit with them under the tent, as well as personal tours of the hangar. And he said if I point out which ones, he'll even let them climb up in the seats. So that might be something to sweeten the deal there. But so he's gonna have a meeting with his folks tonight to get the full menu of options. Like if you just want the World War II plane, if you just want the gliders, the ones that with the really long wingspans. So he's going to come up with a full list of pricing based on that. And I like the idea that you floated before, which is instead of trying to raise money and put it in a big bucket and then pay from that, to find sponsors, say you pay them directly and this will be your contribution to there, so the money's not passing through our hands.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps it off of our budget and off of our books, and I like that idea better.
Yeah, because it feels like money laundering otherwise. Like, I don't know.
Yes. So he was very excited about that one. He said that he does remember us from when we'd asked in the past. That he said they fly out of Detroit, not Detroit Metro. There's a Detroit City Airport, and he said it's the sort of thing that they do all the time. They do have them while they open. That we were one of the first ones to call about that. So, in terms of sponsorship, I like the idea of nailing that one down. The Rosies are, as far as they've said so far, they did agree to it, and as they are free of charge. But obviously we have the float, which we did budget for in the past. But of course that's just the raw float. That's not that's not decorated. So
yeah.
So whether or not we include something like for sponsorship for the funds to decorate, or even a company who wants to take it under their wing and decorate the float for sort of a World War II theme. I did get a hold of them. They said that absolutely, obviously there's not a ton of the originals Rosie's left, but she said that it's what was her name? I can get that for you too. So she had said that they're all between 90 and 100 years old right now.
Oh my gosh.
So she's very interested in things like parking and wheelchair access and things like that. So they have Rosie Guardians, which are apparently take them everywhere and offer arms getting up and down and everything like that. And they said they also have a couple World War II veteran friends, which I don't know what that entails, but they said, if you do have a float and the Rosies are going to be on there, we can also, they asked if it was okay to bring other World War II veterans, which I'm not going to say no. So another thing to talk about then for sponsorship then is the possibility of the float decoration. And I had not, after Memorial Day was canceled last year, I had not submitted a band, like the Navy band one. So I don't know if we want to talk about that in terms of sponsorship too, whether we even put that out there.
Yeah, it's probably too late. I would guess. I don't know. I heard that you have to book. It's like having a wedding or something. Like you need to book them a year out in advance. But can you just go back? What did you say the Tuskegee Airmen? What was the cost?
He said he's going to get us a full menu with the cost for each one, like one plane, two plane, the gliders and everything. He said if you wanted everything, the entire squadron to be to flying out, he said he couldn't imagine it ever being more than $2,500.
Oh my gosh! So going back, like our 2 T-shirt fundraisers brought in about $1,600. So
okay.
I'd be curious to see what we can get for $1,600. But it sounds like we can get something for $1,600, and probably something pretty cool for $1,600.
So that was from the T-shirt.
Yeah, we did one, and then we did another. We sold 120 shirts, and then we did another one and sold 67 shirts. And honestly, I think judging by the success of that if you designed a T-shirt for the 100th anniversary of the Memorial Day Parade, I bet you we could make another $1,000 probably pretty easily. It's
So
just
then,
my guess, you know.
so are we thinking that sponsorship may include fundraising efforts from sort of crowdfunding as well, as opposed to hitting up corporations
No,
alone?
I think if we can get all the money from a corporation, that'd be good. But I just wanted to say that we have a plan B, kind of.
Okay. Got it. So then, knowing that we've allocated the money for the float itself already, there is the charge out there if we do want to do the Tuskegee flyover, that's there. Then I guess the first question then for sponsorship is, are there, yes, Cynthia?
So are we sure that the parade's gonna go on? Because it's a hard push. You know,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of changes between today and May in the city.
Yes.
So are we,
I'm going on
Sure.
the even from an epidemiological standpoint, a year and a half out from the beginning of a pandemic, is you are usually into the long tail of something like that, where infection rates are down, that things are opened up. Even if there are some restrictions, I cannot imagine that we would have the the 6 feet spacing then and everything like that. So yes. Oh, Mike.
You're muted.
I'm sorry, Steve was walking in the back door, so I was like, hey, I'm on a meeting. So, all right, so we're gonna push forward with parade sponsors, because I mean, but I have to be, we all were going on this last year at the same time.
Oh, I know.
thinking things are gonna be different, and it's not.
Right.
And my life is still like this.
Well, I think that at this point for Memorial Day, I think that we have to plan as if it's going on.
And are we going to refund the money, or we're going to ask them to hold it over because it's not the 100th anniversary anymore?
Well, if it's one, if we ask sponsors to essentially adopt a section of the parade, and if we say Royal Oak, I just keep throwing out Royal Oak Ford because I just drove by there. So if we say Royal Oak Ford, you're sponsoring the flights, that they are not handing us money and we're handing the Tuskegee guys, they're handing them money. And obviously, if it doesn't happen, they're not paying. And it's not like they're plunking down money ahead of time. So it would be we can help facilitate that, but we're not transferring money so that it doesn't go on our budget or on our books. That ideally, what we do is we have things that need funding, and we pair them up. So, float decorations or flyover or Castec band or whatever.
So at this point, we need specific numbers for going out.
Right. And so their meeting is the same time as our meeting tonight,
but
yes,
not for the other things, right?
No. So that's the other thing. That's the thing then is if we've already allocated the money for the float, then
the float is paid for.
Yes. So then what we would do is we would have to come up with somebody who essentially adopts the float for either paying for decorations or taking it upon themselves to decorate. Maybe the high school, maybe a company, so ideally what we do is we act as facilitators between the two groups. Now, in terms of, obviously I would love to have a company come in and swoop in, and that's why I'm hoping that we get some bites back from some of the bigger what's this guy's name? Something Hall Jr. is a friend of my producer. And the reason I keep saying Royal Oak Ford is because...
Is it Eddie Hall Jr.?
Yes.
Okay.
So Eddie Hall Jr. owns Royal Oak Ford, was in 40 Under 40 and all that. And so my producer is in this group called EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, and so she thinks she may know him. So I'd like to start with the with that one. I know we've said Matthew Hargraves in the past, and that was a hard sell, I think. I think we had used them in the past, not last year, but before that for transportation, or I
I
seem
think,
to remember using Matthew Hargraves for
yeah,
something in the past.
yeah. And it's my understanding that the year that they had the Navy band, that was one of the years.
Okay. All right. So then, so what we need to do then is identify any other nice to haves that would require money and find out what, obviously the flyover is one of my big ones, and decking out the float. Is there anything else that comes to mind? We've used Camp Casey over the Clydesdales, and I kind of like Camp Casey more, and
Yeah, I think that I feel bad that this meeting is televised, but I do feel that that's a place to save $500 is we usually have that group and Camp Casey brings more horses and they're
right. And it's not like they haven't done wonderful things in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they have a better, and they were located in Royal Oak, and the other group comes from far away. Like
right. I'm kind of the same mind. I like what they've done. I like the Arabian horses in the past, but I also like to support Camp Casey as well.
Yeah.
So Cynthia, is there anything that you think of that jumps out in terms of something that would need funding that we need to sort of peg it to a sponsorship opportunity?
Well, I think maybe we should look local for the parade, for the float decoration.
Mm-hmm. You mean local company within the
Something that's coming up, something that's coming up. We got Henry Ford, we do have Beaumont, Baker College is coming into town.
I forgot about Baker.
Baker College, yeah. And they're doing some, I don't know what their marketing budget is, but I think by May of next year, they're going to want to bust out enrollment for September.
I was thinking, like, what if we went to the chamber, because they have some really creative people there, and saw if like the chamber would be responsible for, not be responsible, but would take on decorating the float, with multiple, instead of one person paying a lot, it's like the Chamber of Commerce and
I kind of like the idea of them reaching out to their members within the Chamber of Commerce to say, look, join us, bring what you got. If you want bunting, you bring flags and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, sometimes people, like, who knows, like somebody might belong to the chamber that has that stuff, and it's like really easy for them, and and rather than one person doing it all, it's a bunch of smaller groups of people.
Right. Yes, Cynthia.
So my thought on that when I made that mention was that they would also reimburse us for the float that we paid.
I would,
So if we went for a bigger company, then we've already provided the float and given them a couple of options. Like, okay, you can decorate the float so long as it meets the theme of the parade. But if you really want to help out the city, this is what we paid for the float, and this is what it would cost you. So you got like a 2-tier option. And then I do think the chamber is a good option as well, because you might have a lot of people who have a lot of ideas that could do that. But if we're going to have the Rosies, I do think that a couple of years ago, there were maybe 20 or 30 Rosies. They were not original Rosies, but they were dressed.
Did they march or?
Yeah, they marched.
Okay, I think I remember that.
I think you could probably do something like get that group of younger women that
exactly
march in it's the real ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
is that a local group?
That could be a changer. I know there's several groups that do it across Michigan, across the country actually, but if we have even a group that wants to do that, and decorate maybe it's a company, maybe it's the chamber, maybe the chamber has enough members that want to get bandanas and jeans and,
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, no offense to people that imitate Rosie the Riveter, but it's not that hard of a costume to pull off.
It's not that hard of a costume, and guess what? We all see it.
Yeah, but the women's club, we could ask them if they would all dress up.
That's what I mean. And it was impressive. It was impressive. It was very impressive. I don't even know if there was any original Rosies at that time. It might have been somebody that we recognized that year, but whatever. It was impressive to see them, and it's a simple costume. Maybe the chamber would do that.
So Judy, do you know who the current head of the Chamber of Commerce is?
Yes, it's Shelley Kemp.
Shelley Kemp?
Mhm.
All right, I will get that information offline then, and make that call.
Yeah, she's a very, very highly motivated and very creative person.
Got it. Now, are they? So they're over there on Washington.
Yeah,
Washington. Yeah, the little building right there by the. Okay, got it. It's been a long time. So I actually, I think I joined in like 2007, maybe 2009 or something, and then only did it for a year, but it's a long time ago. All right. So do you remember what the full cost of the float was? Was that?
I want to say, don't hold me to this, but I want to say it's around 2,400, 2,500, something like that.
All right. I'll look back through my notes on that one. So.
But actually, yeah. So we're given $2,000 a year for the parade, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I believe we gave them $2,000 to hold it. So I think there's probably a balance on it too.
Got it. So we're going to be looking for reimbursement for the float, for whatever the menu comes back for the Tuskegee Airmen guys, and then reaching out to Chamber of Commerce, Shelley Kemp, for possible decoration for the float.
Or yeah, just see if she has like a lot of, there's the chamber and then there's a lot of like subgroups within the chamber. So maybe one of those groups would like take it on. I think even if they would do even if they were to come up with a design or whatever, that would be helpful. Less that we have to do.
Got it. Yeah, Cynthia.
What about the DDA?
I think that is a possibility. I think that I can sort of reach out to Sean. I don't think, because it is the centennial year, I don't think that it's out of the realm to, if we fall short a little bit with our sponsorship, to go to the city commission, as long as we're not asking for like $20,000 or something. But I think if we needed an extra $1,000 this year, that it's worth asking for, because it is a really special year, not only for our city, but for the parade. So it will be now I'm all confused. Is it the 100th parade?
No, it is. Now it matches up. It was last year was going to be the 100th parade, and this coming year is going to be the 100th anniversary.
Right.
Now they're paired up, and it's going to be the 100th anniversary and the 100th parade, and I hope like hell we have it. I'm still planning.
200 years.
Right. So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I can't say that they would do it or not, but I don't think that it's inappropriate to ask, because it is a special year, and we're not planning on doing these things every year, just this special year.
Right. Do you know who the executive, the head of the Royal Oak DDA is? What their name is?
So the person that I would reach out to would be Sean Kammer. He's the downtown manager.
I've met him.
Yeah, he's pretty much responsible for their agenda. He's not the director of the DDA, but he works very closely with them. And you could ask, he would definitely know the appetite for doing something like this. and I do think, because it is so special and it is downtown, that I think that they would be pretty into it. But again,
the only thing that I think that seems looming is, because their budget comes from tax revenue from the DDA area, and we've gone through, only the first part of a pandemic. So I'm wondering if their budget is essentially sunk because of all the closures this year too.
Yeah.
Whereas, something like the Chamber of Commerce has got a different mission and a different revenue stream, whereas the DDA is strict. I mean, that's a lot of bars and restaurants that are not paying that what they used to pay in taxes. So
I think the
Those are
chamber's,
valid points.
I think
All
the
right, what was that,
chamber is
Cynthia?
gonna, I think the chamber is, it depends. There's businesses coming and going,
Mhm.
so the chamber suffers as well,
Yeah, for sure.
right? I'm pretty sure Baker College is not a part of the chamber, just from a personal aspect.
Right. Do you know when they're opening?
They're trying to, honestly, they were gonna try to get enrollment by September, but that's not gonna happen,
That
so
was breakneck.
I would think that, I mean, they're pushing it forward. We had to be out in 3 weeks. They were really wanting to move it forward, so, and it's gonna be amazing for the city. From what I hear, it's gonna be a lot of medical, so it's gonna be, dental hygiene, nursing, from what I'm hearing, and I will connect with them as soon as I get a price point, because I do think it's going to be a good thing for the city.
Yeah,
That's
and I have a contact there as well now. So
Okay.
okay.
and I think Cynthia's spot on that they would be. I
So
think they're
you have
eager
a
to
connection.
know that they're-
You have a connection with Baker or the developer?
I have a connection with Baker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Me too, but
especially
the
nursing.
developer's got an investment as well. So
Yeah.
Uh,
But I think that Baker is very eager to show that
yes,
they're a good neighbor.
Got it.
yes,
That they're here, they want to be part of this community.
yes,
Want to be part of the solutions, not part of the problems.
exactly.
Yeah. I won't ask if there's been any feathers ruffled so far, but but if they've got if that's going to be nursing within there too, that might actually have a really interesting tie-in. Given the, I mean, think of all of the think of the old nursing, like even the nursing outfits, nurses outfits from World War II. There was so much of our view of that war that was seen through a medical lens, either people coming back or being in care, things like that too. So I wonder if they can sort of, find a way to sort of marry the two together. Yes.
I think their focus is medical in general, so it's
Okay.
like huge, and I don't think Baker's been around long enough, but maybe they have a historian in their group. I'm just saying that they're doing everything. They're going to do everything. X-ray, dental hygiene, you name it. They're gonna. If you have a child that's interested in the medical field, EMT, they're going to do it all. So first responders, that is the focus. From what I believe, this campus is supposed to be, and the people who can't get into nursing school might be able to.
Got it.
So.
I was just going to mention that the person that's the chairperson for the Historical Study District Committee, Ruth Cleveland, she's the most awesome woman in Royal Oak. Sorry, all you other women in Royal Oak, but she's in her 90s and she's a nurse. And her nursing group still gets together all the time. But I could ask her, she's so connected to anything with history. So I can ask her if there's any groups of military nurses that she knows of. Because I think that's actually like a really cool idea.
Yeah. Well, and like I actually I attended a talk, I can't remember the name of them. They were non-military, like not quite nurses. They'd be dropped into these places in Vietnam, and they would go through and they would bring stuff to the guys in the field, and they would put on little shows, and I can't remember the name of them. But it was this big long presentation when I was at General Motors. I gotta dig that one up too. But they had a name, not like the Brownies or something like that, but I'll dig it up. But so I kind of like the aspect of that. I mean, either Baker College or the Ruth Cleveland and the historical thing. The other, when you mention that, it set something off too. Is if we can find we've got time. If we can find a classic car like a 1945, since that's when the war ended, and we've got our Rosies and we've got Elvira and whatnot, like. If we can find a classic car instead of just instead of a convertible this year, I wonder if we can use that for our Grand Marshal car too. Because
Oh, that would be so cool.
so I'm sure there are, because I know there's a bunch of car clubs, but I don't know. Most of them are like 50s and 60s. I don't know any kind of going back to the 40s.
So John Fideli, he's our recreation superintendent. He is part of the Dream Cruise board. I'm sure he could probably find out how to get a contact for that particular kind of car.
Okay, John Fideli.
Fideli. Mm-hmm.
Okay, John Fideli. I will look him up.
Yes, he's our like Dream Cruise rep.
1945.
So he knows a lot about cars. Oh, yeah.
So, we've got the Historical Society. It's you for Ruth Cleveland. You said Historical Society or
She's in the Historical District Study Commission.
District Study Commission.
I hope I didn't mess that up. Something like that. It's a very long name.
That's fine. Because I was going to say I don't remember the.
She would be like we should try to get her to be in the parade because everybody that knows her loves her. There's only two kind of people in the world: people that love her and people that don't know her.
And then don't know her. I like those kind of people. All right. So then, so definitely on the Chamber of Commerce, I'll reach out to Shelley Kemp. I'll reach out to Sean Kamer. I'm probably more apt to think that the Chamber might be able to help with that, in terms of both finding somebody to do or reimburse or take over for the float, as well as finding somebody who might, I think Baker College would be a good one for the flyover, hitting them up for that one. And because it sounds like the float and the flyover are going to be roughly the same price. But we can put it out there for both. But the other thing too is, nothing sells like, images. Now that I know what they have for these flyovers, I can get the actual images of the planes that we can drop into any one page or pitch deck or something like that, as well as a decked out World War II looking, welcome home kind of float. So.
I just had a great idea.
Yes.
I think it's a great idea. So you know how we have this relation with the Army recruiters in Madison Heights?
Yes.
Because I love Mr. so much, and he's our Grand Marshal this year, and he was in the Navy. I wonder, is there like Navy recruiters? Because it would be so awesome to have some like enlisted Navy people walk alongside of him. Somebody that landed on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day.
We have to. My old boss she's from Michigan and she joined the Navy.
Yeah, I think it would be so cool to have some real live, because our parade sometimes lacks
diversity in terms of military.
Diversity in terms of military for sure. And also there's not a lot of I know it's Memorial Day, right? So, but there's not a lot of like younger people in the parade.
That's true. It looks like there's a bunch of Navy recruiting places in Detroit, Jefferson Ave, Brewery Park. Maybe what we can do is reach out to them and say, look, we've got a Navy guy who's
95 years old. Yeah.
Do you have anybody who is we don't have a JRTC, not JRTC. We don't have a who are the young kids? Like the
ROTC.
ROTC. Thank you. JRTC is the Joint Readiness Training Center. Sorry, that's burned in my head. Yes.
All right. So because of Steve in the funeral business, whenever we had somebody pass away, he has a lot of contacts, and with these organizations that would come at the last minute and do a tribute to whoever passed. And they are all on rotation, right? So you're on rotation. So if you get called on a Tuesday, you got to go on Wednesday. And
Okay.
usually they send at least 2, all decked out, ready to do that. So maybe I ask him if he'll reach out
Mm-hmm.
to the contacts and see if they would be, if they could put these guys in the rotation for the 100th year. Do you know what I mean? It might be only 2, but
I
they're all
like that.
decked out.
And can I just say something? My dad was in the Navy and my dad passed away last year. And he did have a bugler and a younger, there's 3 of them that showed up, a bugler and then 2 people that folded a flag. And they came, like, my dad passed away and we had his funeral very quickly. They came very quickly. And what I was told from the industry people is that it's hard to get the Army people there just because so many people were in the Army. There's not enough people to go to funerals. But the Navy, because it's it's maybe not as big. There's not as many veterans for the Navy. Like there are people, and it was so moving. And Cynthia is 100% right. They just came on a dime.
Yeah,
Nice.
and the other thing is, I think the Army is more difficult. So when Steve would meet with the family, he'd call the Army because it takes a little bit of time. And families will hold that off for a couple of days to have them there. But given this kind of time, maybe I can ask Steve if he can contact them and say, hey, can you put it out there right now? We'd really love you. It's our 100th day parade. Could you have all, reach out to all 5?
You know what? And maybe the person would stick around and actually play taps at our ceremony. No offense to Mr. Jensen. He does an amazing job. But the person who played taps at my dad's funeral was like incredible.
Right.
And
all right. I'm going to put that on my to-do list to ask Steve to reach out if they're available for the parade and the ceremony.
Cynthia, what do you think would be like impressive? Like if there was like, I don't know, 5 people marching with it, Mr. Like, I don't know. What else they can do? Beggars can't be.
I honestly think that we would. I envision it as having a division. We have 5 branches, so we have, them all march wherever we put them in the parade, whether they can afford, and they know that they're on rotation, but there might be a lot of people who would volunteer for that. So maybe we would have 3 to 5. And you branch, bring your A game because it's our 100th anniversary. So,
yeah, you're all going to be competing.
So, bring your banners, bring your people, and we space them wherever we want in the parade. But I'll ask Steve to check into that before the next meeting.
That would be so great.
Because there is like there's an 800 number for all 5 branches that Steve calls. And this is a little out of context for that, but it's far enough away that maybe we could make it happen.
And you know what? We haven't typically done this for Grand Marshals in the past, but I know that Mr. Elvira has a very great picture of him in his Navy uniform. And if we had the budget, I'd love to have that like blown up and have his daughter and son-in-law carry that in front of him too, because I don't know, like I don't think a lot of times we think about how young these guys were.
I can't imagine.
It's just he's just like a kid, he looks like a little boy, and there he is over in a foreign country with people.
I hear all these stories about people who lied about their age to sneak in and do it. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love that if if it's a photo, we can scan it at a high resolution. Most people don't have like a really high res scan already.
But his photos.
But you said his daughter has that, or?
Yeah.
She lives out of she's not out of state.
Or Ypsilanti, I think. But
She's
I'll call her and ask her.
Got it. Yes.
I have one more thing to say. Many times when we have called for these branches to come out, it's a time frame crunch. You know what I mean? So I know this is Memorial Day, but they would need to know when these officers are going to be engaged. And then like almost exactly, because there could be a funeral home in Livonia that they have to be at. So I'm just trying to cover all my bases before we make the calls.
Well, the good thing is because active duty and veterans groups go first. So if we say, the parade starts at 9,
Yeah.
and they're the first ones on the line, if we have to say, look, if you basically slide in at the last minute, March, you're the first ones, and you're out of there by 9:20 or however long it takes to get from 7th all the way up to the third, or where we talked about a funny path this year,
Right.
but whatever. But yeah, because they would be active duty or veterans, they would be first, which means they can peel off first and get out of there. So that's one
So
thing
if I
too.
say 9 to 11,
Oh, that, yeah. I mean, 9 to 11 would be,
okay.
if they wanted to, if they wanted to stick around for the ceremony, even better.
I just want to make sure that if we're going to ask, I'm going to be consistent with our asking.
Yes. Now, tell them the parade starts at 9. Obviously, that we'd like them to rally by no later than 8:30 at the front there.
Right.
If
They're
they can
usually there early.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think that would be great. Now, so
Okay.
you'll talk to the Navy. I'm going to be Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to highlight my to-dos here. And
So I'm doing Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, right?
so if you've got the connections, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
that's great.
And I've got a call into I've already got a couple calls into the Madison Heights recruiting center. But I've we talk about Selfridge. I don't know that they do a lot of outreach up there. But I also don't know if it's like I know they have some Coast Guard stuff up there. They've got some Air Force stuff up there. But I don't know that they have a lot of people stationed there. So I know in the past we've talked about military vehicles and everything like that, but I'd prefer older ones as opposed to I don't need to see a MRAP driving down the street, but I know the kids like it. So let's see here.
One of the things that the parade did a few years back is they asked people that so when a family member dies and you do have the military involved and they give you a flag, they ask people to bring those flags and march with those flags. Yeah, right, exactly. So that would be kind of cool too, to really promote that. And then if we have these different military organizations, you could march behind, like with your flag behind. Like if your dad was in the Navy or the Army or your mom or whoever, and you have that flag, you carry it, because that also is like a really strong visual and reminds us why we're there.
I think that would be a way around because I know the VFW and the American Legion and whatnot, they don't want anybody up front marching with active duty or veterans who's not that. But because these are the
people representing, they're proxy people.
Yeah,
for
they're
no longer with
that
us.
flag is essentially representation of the following one. So I think we could use that to sort of sell the idea. But I do love the idea.
Get somebody to carry my dad's flag. So
yeah, I like that idea. I wouldn't I like the idea of the kids in the past holding the things and everything like that. I would not have kids holding flags because they're going to drop them, and then it's a big problem. So I wouldn't include that I wouldn't mash those two things together. But I do like the idea. Let's see. I'm going to put the.
I know this is. Am I on mute?
No, we can hear you.
So I know this is sponsorship, but there's a lot of people who have served, or families who have an affiliation with a branch. Mm-hmm. And I know when I was marking the parade last time we had a parade, we marked it with the first group going first, first group going off. But there could be family members who have mothers, daughters, sisters, brothers who were in the Navy, and they're marching, so they're active. And it is still, it's our 100th anniversary, it's our city. So I have a brother that was in the Navy. Maybe he doesn't live in Royal Oak, but, there's people. I just wonder if we could coordinate that somehow where it would work, because they're not necessarily members of the Canadian, the VFW.
Right,
They're
right.
not. They don't maybe not live here,
Right.
but they have, and it's our 100th year. So if
Hmm.
we have a representative from the Army, anybody who's in the Army that feels they're not members of here, but they feel like, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's happened in the past because my dad was in our parade and my dad doesn't live in Royal Oak.
I'm like, hell yeah. Where you're,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well,
wear whatever you want to wear. And
well, one of the things too is like you can't see, but like right behind my desk here, I've got the United States Army flag up on the wall, and they're relatively expensive. I mean, so we could have a flag per each branch, and whoever's got somebody active duty and wants to march in that, I wouldn't put them right up front with the with the active. If we've got like the Navy guys in there and they're dressed white pants and everything like that, I wouldn't have them up there, but like right behind the veterans groups and whatnot, have you can have five across.
okay, that's probably a better idea.
So
I don't want to upset anybody, but
so well, but that's the thing too. That they would be before everybody else, but right behind the veterans groups and like host post. And it's I can provide the flags for each of them, and if we basically put the word out and say, look, if you have active duty soldiers and you'd like to march to represent that branch, get decked up in your red, white, and blue and come on out. So we can put that out there. The only the only thing is, I would feel bad if we had 20 people under Army and 10 under Navy, none under Air Force. And,
that's on them though.
That's on them. Yeah.
That's what brings our community together. It's what we have. It's our makeup. So if you got 100 Army, you got 6 Navy, you got 2 Coast Guard. Be proud of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't
There's
matter.
coasters everywhere.
I think
I like that idea. So let's see.
or if you have if I'm understanding you right, if you have all the flags together walking in line with people behind them, like people won't know who's who.
Oh, if they're kind of I am thinking of like columns, like boom, 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 and you go get behind the flag.
All be together.
Got it.
I'm sure, like if you were expecting my dad a few years ago to get in his Navy outfit, but
no. Yeah. So
I kind of like them separated. It brings.
It's a competitive
for community.
Yeah, it also brings out a little bit of the competition.
There's no shame in it, whether there's 4 or 50. I'm a proud Navy member. I'm a proud Army member. I'm a proud, and I do like them separated. I mean, they can march in where they want, and they're welcome where they want. But it'd be nice to know what our community is made of. I know a lot of veterans that I don't know the branch they're in until, they put on a hat. I know they served. So, it is what it is. Whatever you choose, it is what our community is made of, whether it's more Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine.
Now because I got to think of the logistics of this. Do we make them produce some sort of document, or do we basically take somebody's word, like give us, their name and their rank? Because there's times somebody I meet and they go, oh yeah, my brother's in the military. You go, oh, what branch? They go, huh? Like, what type of, is he wear blue or green? And so some people, they just know that they're in the military. Some people know that they're in the Navy. And parents always know, oh, they're in this, the actual unit number. But I can't see us, no, you have to bring us some sort of paperwork.
No.
I think we'd have to take it on the honor system.
No. I was thinking that more, we produce the flags for the branches, and we welcome the community to join the parade behind their branch that they represent. And I don't think there's any accountability. I'm not going to say, my brother was in the Navy. My brother was in the Navy, but it's not. Yeah. I don't think we want to even get into the logistics of people signing up.
Right. So we would just have people now. I wonder. Well, we would have to have some idea ahead of time who would want to do that. So whether we make a Google form and put it on the site, or whether because what I don't want to do is just say, hey, show up on this morning at 8:00 if you've got a family member here, because if 20 show up, great. If 200 show up, holy crap, we're in trouble.
And also so the year that my dad participated, when they were really asking for military people, my dad couldn't walk the parade route. So we did have to, so we will have to think about, we might need more transportation, especially if some older people want to participate and can't walk a mile. That will happen. I'll tell you, it was the highlight of my dad's life, riding in a convertible being in a parade.
I wonder if the Henry Ford's going to be open enough that they would provide wheelchairs. That might be.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I like the idea of the branch flags and the civilians and everything. I think we can work with that, and we'll bring that up at our 7:00 meeting. So what I think we've got is for our deliverables are, I'm going to be calling Shelley Kemp of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to get your contact, Judy, for Baker College.
Yep.
I will find John Padelli's number to find out about the car. Do you have any contacts at the Women's Club?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you want to take do you want to reach out to them to see if they would be interested in maybe being some knockoff Rosies or helping, that sort of thing. So, and since Ruth, do you want to at least float the idea of either picking her brain or having her be part of this? And I think she might actually, if she's with the Historical District Study Commission, she might actually enjoy being on the float with the Rosies and the World War II vets too. I think that might be a nice nice ad, at least as a payoff for us picking her brain.
She used to be the chief nurse at Highland Park Hospital.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I think, when did they shut that place down?
I don't know.
That was the big, scary looking one too.
I think Ruth is 94.
Wow.
Gosh,
I'm pretty sure.
Not 90, only 91.
I think the Highland Park one was when I got out in 96, and I had one more surgery after I got out. And I think I was like the last one to go through that before they basically abandoned that building, and now it looks like a horror movie plot. So, all right, then I've got, Cynthia.
I'm going to reach out to see if we can get a representative for the parade. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines.
Absolutely.
9 to 11 would be a lock-in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see.
I will report back. You know what? I need a 5-minute break between this meeting and the next meeting.
That's fine. Yep, that is fine.
Are we doing that now? And then I got yoga. I got yoga at 8:20. So I'm off the meeting at 8.
We're gonna make this a quick meeting then. So
Take care of me.
Got it. What time?
I got you guys.
Yoga.
See you in a bit.
All right.
Okay. Well, we've got everybody here that's going to be here. So let's call to order at 7:04. And welcome everybody. Let us do our official roll call here. So let's go around the room. Judy Davids.
She's muted, but she's here.
Yep, there. We just got to get everybody on there. So, all right.
Present.
Excellent. Eileen.
Present.
All right. Mike, you there?
Present.
Present. All right. Willie.
Present.
All right. And Cynthia.
Present.
Okay. And Max is he's actually getting ready for his wedding, which that was new. And Steve Tykow apologizes he couldn't be here, but he said that there is nothing that they'd be presenting anyway. So, all right, then, and obviously I am here as well. All right, then if that's the case, let's go to,
Agenda.
all right then. Okay, so did everybody get a chance to get the agenda for tonight?
Yes, I have it.
Okay.
I'm looking at it. I've got it on my laptop.
Excellent. If everybody had a chance to take a look at that, if anybody has any changes, let me know. Otherwise, let's get a motion to approve the agenda as sent out for Tuesday, October 6th. It looks like Cynthia's got her hand up. Yes.
I'm going to motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll
All
second.
right. We got Judy as second. All right. All in favor of approval of agendas?
Aye.
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 I think
Alright.
you have to do roll call again, Dave.
And go around the room. All right. All right. Judy, that was an aye. Eileen, I think I heard an aye from you. Mike.
Aye.
All right. Willie.
Aye.
Cynthia.
Aye.
All right. And obviously Max is out and Steve is out. All right. That is everybody. So agenda is approved. Let me go here. Excellent. Also, I have heard, Carol, thank you for mentioning, we do not have anybody for public comment tonight. We didn't have anybody come in beforehand. So we do not have anybody speaking. That said, I will be speaking at the commission meeting coming up about the WROK 22 March to promote that. And that will be on the, what did we say, the 12th?
Yes.
The Monday, the 12th, yes. All right, excellent. Okay, then if that's the case, the minutes that went out for September 15th, did everybody get a chance to take a look at those? I'm pulling mine up here.
I have them.
Yes, I have them.
Okay.
I have them also.
All right. I don't know that I saw anything in here that needed to be changed. We've got virtual. Cynthia, yes.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
All right. Can I get a second
Support.
for the motion?
I'll support that. Second.
Is that okay? We got Mike as a second. All right.
Yes.
Go on. Excellent. All in favor? Judy.
Aye.
Eileen.
Aye.
Willie.
Aye.
Cynthia.
I motion to approve.
Yep. All right, then if that's the, and of course, obviously Max and Steve are here too. All right, then let's see, approved as submitted. Then let me go here. Sorry, I've got 15 documents open all at once. Okay, if that is the case, the minutes from last time, and I think we got out of there in breakneck speed last time at 8:40, so we're gonna try to break our record. All right, then Steve had said that he could not be here tonight, and but his ex officio, there was no report from a police standpoint, from a city tie-in standpoint. So we do not have an ex officio report. Wait a second here. Okay. Then on to my report here, and I'm going to brief through this. I sent it around to everybody. Hopefully everybody got a copy of the October chair report. If not, let me know. I can send you a PDF. But I will go through it now. So I did get verification from the VFW state chaplain, Jennifer Smith, that
Okay,
she
once I
is,
know that they're coming through the day. Should be tomorrow.
sorry, what was that?
I think Carol, are you not muted? It sounded like Carol's voice.
The WROK
I'm
is
sorry,
muted.
someone was in my office. What was the question?
Oh, nothing. We were just we thought you were trying to raise. We thought you were trying to ask a question. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was muted. My
Nope, not at all.
apologies.
We love to hear from you. All right. So I did hear from the VFW state chaplain, Jennifer Smith, that she is delighted to be the speaker for the Veterans Day ceremony this year. She agreed. She said she had lots of input that she'd like to talk about, sort of a theme. We've talked to her about how we've handled these in the past. That we want them to be direct and from the heart and not be sort of canned speeches. And that said, we don't have a particular theme this year, but she did say that she's very happy to be involved, and we've got her locked in for that. Spoke to Jeanette Gutierrez of the American Rosie the Riveter Association from the Willow Run chapter. They are in for Memorial Day. They're happy to be invited, and they asked how many we wanted, and I said as many remaining Rosies as we have. She said that the remaining Rosies that they have, the original World War II Rosies, are all between 90 and 100 years old right now. So we do want to make sure that as we get closer, we have wheelchair access for the float itself, whether that's a ramp or something like that. But we will make sure that that is taken care of. With the Rosies come the Rosie Guardians. So apparently they have younger Rosies that sort of they walk with them. They offer an arm when needed. So it will be the Rosies and the Rosie Guardians. And Jeanette asked if we would like additional World War II veterans to ride along on the float with them. They said they have World War II veteran friends that go along with the Rosies, and I said the more the merrier. So I'm happy to have them along as well. But that is the Willow Run chapter of the ARRA, American Rosie the Riveter Association. And so I did not specifically ask for the younger ones that are, I don't want to say they dress up like Rosies, but they're obviously not the original ones. But we have something later on in the meeting that we can talk to about that. To talk to Steve Tupper of the Tuskegee Air Show, the guys that fly the gliders and the T6Gs and whatnot. They're having a meeting right now as we speak to come up with a menu of items for a flyover. But we did get verification they are available for a flyover for Royal Oak for Memorial Day 2021. And they're putting together a sort of a list of prices for us. Now, for anybody who's interested, they have 4 TG-7A gliders. Those are the ones that they fly over the Detroit River for the River Days. They also have one World War II era. It's called a T6G. It has the original Tuskegee markings. That's a big draw as well. They have 2 Stearman, they're Model 75. They're biplanes. Which are even older than World War II ones. So they have everything is available, and they did say that they can give us a sort of a menu price for the entire squadron, or we can do individual ones. And he was eager to talk about we can even pick the formations they fly in, whether it's the diamond pattern or the flying V, or we do the breakaway at the end. So he was very excited about that one. He's putting together a list of prices for us, so we can sort of order as many as the planes as possible. But he is locked in currently for Memorial Day, and will give us prices hopefully this week. Obviously, we launched the WROK 22 custom ink page. Judy, I'm not sure if anybody else, when I looked earlier today, it said 31 have already purchased.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now. So
okay,
we push it a little more. I know that it says there's only 10 days left, but we're going to add more time on it at the end, sure.
Right. So we did the limited time to light a fire under people, and knowing that we might push it back at the end. But what I think we should do for that one is we'll be putting together another social media push. So I'll provide graphics to everybody so we can do it on both our page as well as everybody's individual page. I thought about now that the new City Hall is open, is it worth entertaining the idea of doing either like desk drop, like flyers for desk drop or something like that, or to put up in break rooms or things like that. I don't know I haven't even been in the new City Hall, so I don't know what that would be like. Or
that's a really good point. I don't think we have a like place to put flyers like in our break room, but we can send out an email for sure.
Got it. Cynthia, yes. Oh, you're muted.
My husband is kind of bouncing around, so sorry. So the VFW, I believe, just opened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if their commander knows about the WROK run. Maybe we can post something there. I don't know about the Canadian, if they're open. I know the Eagles is open, and, you know, Cottingham's are pretty active in this group.
Mhm.
They always want to be represented. I don't think there's anything at the Eagles, so maybe we need to, maybe all of us push it forth through our Facebook or whatever social media you use. But I also think for those who are not on social media, we have something posted, because I think 33 is a little weak.
It is.
I
And
think that's probably all of us, right?
I did.
I mean, really?
yeah.
I
So
mean, let's be honest about it.
So the flyer that I was thinking for City Hall could easily be used for, so we can do one of two things. We can either provide an actual printed version for, you know, VFW, Legion, Canadian, but it also, obviously, it would be in PDF format too. So if they're not open and having people into these locations, we can also reach out to them via email and say, you know, here, distribute this to your members and whatnot. We'd love for you guys to be part of this. You know, if they're not big on social media, then at least that's a way of getting it to them. Since we have to make the flyer anyway, it's got to be a PDF to be printed. So once we have the actual printed thing, we have a mailable piece as well. So I'd like to circulate that this week because I would like to get another push this week, and then, of course, right after the city council meeting, the commission meeting on the 12th, where I talk about Route 22, I think that evening would be a good time to do another push on social media as well, since people might be watching or hearing that. So yes, Judy.
So I sent out an email to everybody that participated last year, and so it occurs to me that I think I have a few years of people that have participated. So I'll go back and send out to every year, because it's probably a lot of the same people, but it's probably also a lot of different people. And then also, we just worked with the city manager to put out his informational column that will go in Royal Oak today, and it mentions the WROK March, and that will go to every house in Royal Oak.
Nice. Okay, got it. Yes, Cynthia.
So do we have a list of people who participated in the parade? Can we send it? Can we send them out to them as well?
That's a great idea.
Okay.
Just
Unless anybody has any objections to that.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a little disappointed about 33.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
When I first saw that, my question then is, having you've all seen the copy and the text and whatnot, do you think that we should kind of revisit the copy and the call to action? Do you think it was strong enough? Do you think we should probably try a different approach? I mean, if I have to re-engineer this thing, you know, I don't mind writing new copy and coming up with new graphics. If the first one didn't hit, maybe it was too far out, maybe people weren't thinking. So I think that the next wave doesn't have to be the same as the last one, but what were your thoughts on, I know we kind of went around the room the last time to talk about the copy. Yes, Cynthia.
I think the copy was okay. My concern about the low response to the WROK is that we're not getting the word out about the ceremony on the 11th. Letting them know it's virtual and we're discouraging participation. So if we're not getting the word out that I know the WROK run is relatively new, but if we're only hitting a certain percentage of the population, I'm concerned that it's going to be an issue on November 11th.
Well, the other thing too is when I go before the city commission and talk about it's not going to be just the WROK run, it's going to be Veterans Day as well. But I think we had something in the last block of copy that mentioned the sort of virtual Veterans Day sort of thing too, but we can pump it up for the next one. Yeah. And I think the original plan was also anybody who signs up for the WROK 22, the secondary communication that they get beforehand, bless you, Eileen, that the secondary communication would also be a sort of enticing them to participate on Veterans Day as well. So But
Yeah, it is key that we get that out to the community so so it doesn't look like this committee has not done their due diligence about getting the communication out to the community who normally would go to that event. And we're really not, we're discouraging that from happening. So I just want to make sure that, and when we do it, that it's all on point.
Well, one of the things that it might be unfinished business. I'm not sure if we want to talk about it then, but my thought about that is I wonder if there's somebody, if there are in the tower, if there's a general room, if there's an area where people congregate, if we get somebody on staff to throw up either the Facebook Live or WROK or something like that on Veterans Day and promote it for people who might otherwise be, either walk over or participate some way, if they can stay inside and still do it, if they're not the sort of Facebook, Instagram crowd normally. So I don't have any connections over at the tower to see if that's even doable. But I would like to make sure that anybody who is a senior or homebound or whatnot gets that this is something that they can still participate in even if they're not there physically. The Veterans Day, not the WROK 22. Yes, Judy.
I will say, I wish Steve was here, but I am probably pretty sure that the participation in like the police run in June, once it was like announced it was virtual, also the attendance was like a lot lower. So there's something to be said that people want to participate in something because they want to be part of a bigger crowd and they want to see people. And if that's not happening, like honestly, I signed up for virtual races and I didn't do it. I just got my T-shirt and my medal.
As a matter of fact, I
didn't actually walk. So like, I think some people like need that extra motivation of like a friend that says, hey, we signed up for this, we got to go. Or I don't know, but I wouldn't feel too bad. I do feel bad about 31, but I wouldn't feel bad if we were like half of what we were last year because it is virtual and some people just want to be around other people.
Yep. Cynthia, you're muted.
You did.
A lot of the virtual runs and virtual supports for these kind of events have been twice as much.
I still think we'll get there. I don't think we're going to top
they
out.
have been. The zoo.
I thought that the mom race just said that their attendance was down. But
I'm not talking local. I'm not talking real local in general. I'm talking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, gotcha.
So
no, I don't think we're top out at 30. I don't think it's just going to be us, wearing our beanies around. So, yeah, we will promote obviously at the commission meeting. There's going to be another round of both social media as well as the flyer drop, either PDF or physical. We start reaching out to the VFW, American Legion, Canadian Royal Legion, as well as like I said, I still have a call into the Madison Heights ones. So the recruiting office there to see if they either want to participate or sign up or because I still plan on being out there on that day, actually going through and sort of live documenting it. I don't want to put it out there for people to show up and have too many people and then we're running afoul of all the Oakland County rules, but I still will have boots on the ground and actually doing it on that day on the path. So there still will be some sort of physical element to it. I had planned on basically putting a phone facing outward and sort of live broadcasting on at least my feed, or whether it's on our page or the feed itself, or Facebook Live, the actual march around there. So it's almost like a GoPro. So Cynthia, you had something?
Mute.
Steve and I will be doing the ruck run from Sedona, Arizona with our
Okay.
hats. I'll send photos. I'll send photos, but we'll do it. We
Nice.
ordered we can't wait to hope the hats arrive before we leave.
Got it. I got a note that I think mine shipped already. So But I
Okay,
think I did
I
mine.
did too. I got that too. Like, why are they sending out our hats already? They
I
haven't made them all.
don't know, but
Well,
so yeah,
maybe it's
I will.
about the,
tell you-
maybe it's about the end date though. You know, based on the fact that we have this end date, they mail them out a certain time before that end date.
Oh, well, I'm going back actually to the one last year, and that opened on October 5th. So about the same time, and most of the people came in, started signing up around October 24th.
Okay.
Okay.
So we don't have to feel too bad just yet.
Yep.
okay.
And
Eileen?
I just changed the wording in yours, Dave, that
Yep.
I'm the secretary of, and sent it out on Facebook again. I don't think it's a bad idea of getting some posters at like Hollywood markets and, you know, places that people are shopping where they at least they might see the poster. So I don't think that's a bad idea.
I like that. So yeah, the flyer. I was thinking, 8.5 by 11 size, nothing huge. We've done 11 by 17 in the past for like the parade,
I don't
but I
think
think
so.
those are too big for like corkboard sort of things. I still remember trying to hang up the 11 by 17 posters in like coffee shops, and they're like, "Good luck finding a spot for that." And I'm covering up, poetry slams and everything. So, but all right. Well, that was it for the chairman report. We can go through our unfinished business. I want to kind of recap what we talked about for the sponsorship subcommittee really quick.
Oh, you know what? I just thought of something else too. As I'm looking at this, we allowed military to participate in the WROK March for free. Because I'm looking at my list right now, and a lot of the people that signed up were military, and we don't have an option like that this time.
Ah, that's true.
So, but it looks like at this time, comparing apples to apples, it looks like we probably had about 40 people signed up last year, like 10 days into the thing.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think another push is going to be key. I think the PDF and poster, the flyer drop is going to help. The commission meeting, and then of course, all those touch points are going to contain information about the virtual Veterans Day as well. Now the other thing too is, as we get closer, this will be the first one that we do on the 12th, but hopefully, right before Veterans Day as well, I can get another slot in the commission meeting, or maybe it's public comment or whatever. So sort of hit them at the very last moment too, before Veterans Day.
the other thing too, just comparing this year to last year, is that at some point the Army recruiting station put out the word and brought in a lot of people. So we need to reach out to them, because
I've got to call in.
Like a lot of active military people participated.
Yeah. So I've got a call. I've actually got 2 calls into the Madison Heights recruiting station as well. So waiting on a call back from Sergeant there.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. So as for the sponsorship subcommittee, just to kind of bring you up to speed on what we had discussed there, apart from the Tuskegee Airmen, the flyover, which they're going to be getting a menu for us, but they did say that if we were to just have everything out the door, the entire squadron for the whole morning, he said he couldn't imagine it being more than $2,500. He's going to come back with tiered pricing based on whether we just want the gliders, whether we want the T6G, whether we want the biplanes. But he gave us sort of a top end rough estimate for that. The other one is we had allocated money for the float for our Rosies, which came out of our budget. So what we're going to do is reach out to see if there are companies that want to essentially reimburse for the float itself, and also want to get in on the decoration of it, providing bunting, flags, things like that as well. So we're going to be reaching out to Chamber of Commerce and a couple other options for what we can do to bring in, to marry a company or a school or something like that with one of the needs, whether it be the float itself or the flyover or anything else that pops up. So we had discussed reaching out to Baker College. We had discussed reaching out to, trying to find through the, who was the car one? Oh, John Padelli. He's with the Recreation, Parks and Rec. Okay. Especially given that our Grand Marshal this year is a World War II vet, to see if we can get like a mid 40s, like a 1945 vehicle. I mean, I like having if we can put him in a convertible, great. If we can get him in a classic vehicle, even better. So we're going to be looking for both donations for float, for the flyover, donation to somebody to sort of donate their car for the day, as well as at some point we do have to reach out to who we've talked to in the past about transportation from the parking lots, the shuttles from the parking lot to the rally point. And I can't remember off the top of my head who we had reached out to last time for that. But our connection is severed from years past, but we'll find somebody for that one as well. That said, obviously, if you do have connections to anybody who has those type of sort of shuttle buses, bring it to the table. We're always happy to hear from them. The other thing that we talked about is it wasn't really sponsorship, but we got into the subject of the possibility of bringing in more civilian participation, and we'd like to kind of float the idea of I will provide branch flags, and if we have behind the active duty and behind the veteran groups, if we have people carrying each of the 5 branch flags, then anyone in the community who was a family member of somebody a direct family member, not like distant cousin, who serves into that branch, that they could march behind that flag. So it would be behind the veterans groups, but ahead of, horses and all the other things. I kind of like the idea of family members getting involved because, one, it brings in a younger component, a lot of, younger brothers and sisters or mothers and fathers and whatnot, and also, and as it was brought up, that we don't always have a lot of diversity among the branches. A lot of the times it's, Army, but especially given the fact that Mr. Elvira is a Navy veteran. So I'd love to get more representation across the 5 branches. So I like the idea of having individual flags for each branch, maybe 5 across, maybe in a row. Having them in a row gets problematic because then who's first? And then people fight. But I think if we do 5 across, we've got the space for it, and people can sort of cluster behind them. So if we have family members of Navy members, service members, or Air Force or Marines or whatnot. So I kind of like the idea of bringing in more civilian participation and youth that way. What do you think, Willie, Mike? Is that something that sounds like you guys can be behind?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and absolutely behind that. We'll, John and I can do some things to draw some attention to that for sure. Right, Willie?
Yeah, no problem. Be glad to do it.
Now, I'm not sure the best way to kind of reach out to, whether it's through veterans groups, whether it's kind of putting the word out either through papers or whatnot. So I'm not sure what the best. We've got time, but I don't know the best way to find people who are family members of active duty folks in the community. So I'm more than open to ideas of reaching out. Yes, Cynthia.
I think the service groups is a great start, but I think Willie and Mike will agree that not a lot of the younger people are part of that. So I think any way we can do this, whether community outreach and let them know that they're welcome, we'd love to see you. I think we have to use every avenue to get the word out that we'd like them to participate.
I think we can reach out to, I mean, the schools as well. We definitely can do, reach out to high school, middle school. I don't know if it's too chaotic to reach out to the elementary schools, but definitely the high school and middle school would be, I mean, they all sort of have these, there's this weird hour that they have, which is sort of everybody sit around and do your homework and talk about certain things. I never had it when I was coming up through high school, but that might be a place to sort of put the word out to students in those schools. Do you have a family member, a direct family member, mom, dad, uncle, somebody,
Yeah.
and that they could then be part of the parade as well. But I think ROMS and high school is probably a good place to start for that as well. OHS, I have that here. So what we'll be doing for the sponsorship committee, then we're going to be talking to a number of people to see if we can get reimbursement on float, find people to either company or organization to handle the decorating the float itself, that our rosies are going to be on, and as well as tying a company or organization directly to the Tuskegee folks to take care of that. What we're trying to do is avoid being a pass-through for the money. We're trying to marry two groups together so that we don't actually have to take money from one and hand it to another, because then it stays off our books and our budget. And obviously, as we move forward too, when we get closer to Memorial Day, we can sort of address some of the issues of who's been in it in the past, and whether if we're going to do more restrictions on companies, just the companies, jumping in, or whether the company has to sponsor something. We've brought that up before, but I think that's still far enough out that we don't have to address it now for Memorial Day, but it's something that we'll have to kind of go back to so that we don't have a CBD truck and, or something like that. I'd like to think that people learn their lessons, but I also don't want, if it's down on paper and it's a process, and somebody tries to, basically skirt the process, we can say, look, it's written down on paper. Sorry, you can't do that, sort of thing. I'd like to sort of codify that before we get rolling, but I think we have time. We can focus on WROK and Veterans Day for that. But just know that we are working on the flyover, the Rosies, the float, and all the other stuff too within the sponsorship subcommittee. Now we're going to circle back to our WROK 22 that we started before. So yes, I think that we promote at the commission meeting. We do another wave of social media. I will create a graphic that I can send to everybody. Like Eileen said, that if I write something that seems too personal to me, feel free to take anything that I write and rewrite, mark up, edit, make it yourself, make it personal, or just copy and paste if you want to. You can use the graphic, you can use the text, but we drive people to both sort of to hopefully purchase the WROK 22 and to set aside Veterans Day for our virtual event. All text, all body copy for the messages moving forward will sort of give equal weight to both the WROK 22 and Veterans Day. The last one was mostly WROK 22 with a little mention of Veterans Day. But I think it's going to be, we hit everybody with both of these. I also think that doing the flyer at local places, maybe City Hall, and definitely the service organizations will help with that as well. Yes, Cynthia.
Can we get a timeline on when that flyer might be available?
I would say by Thursday this week. I'll circulate that if there's not any glaring
Can we
errors or anything like
can we
that.
pick it up at Judy's office by Friday?
If I assume so. I don't know what the printing situation
Monday?
is. Well, so City Hall's open now, but I also don't know if the same printing abilities that we had before carry over to the new one. I'm assuming so, but I can't speak to it.
You mean you want to use our print shop to print some stuff for this?
That would be nice. Thank you.
Yeah. The print shop is the print shop guy is there full time.
Okay, good.
He's in part-time, but his hours have not been reduced.
Okay, if that's the case, yes, I would like to get a stack of those because then I can take them around to Atomic and Goldfish and tack them up on boards and everything like that, as well as now Willie and Mike. I don't know if if it's the sort of thing like if the service organizations are open and populated enough that it would make sense to sort of hang things there, or if we're still kind of light enough that it makes more sense to sort of email things around for members. What's your take on that? Do you think that there's enough foot traffic at the actual buildings themselves?
Well, I think Cynthia said that the VFW just opened today. Is that right?
Yesterday.
That being the case, absolutely. They have a bulletin board in there that everybody looks at every time they come in. So definitely get them some stuff over there. Sure.
What about the Legion? Is that open?
Yeah, the Legion's been open, and I have no problem posting stuff at the Legion. Plus, I email everything around to them. When I forward stuff and you see the things I forward to VSOs, it goes to my Legion post, it goes to my DAV contacts, and it goes to my contacts at the Veterans Day Parade also. So all this word gets pretty well spread around.
And you might want to, Dave, email it to Vietnam Veterans Chapter 154 in Mount Clemens.
Because they're involved in them. So okay. Yeah.
They're going to be involved in the cans, aren't they? They're going to for the food net.
Yeah, they're the beneficiary of the.
So you might want to.
Yeah, because then they could promote that themselves. I like that idea. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
And they might.
The Canadian Legion's open also.
Oh, what was that?
Did I hear that the Canadian Legion has also opened?
We have not opened yet, no, but we are meeting on October 27th and making that decision, and I believe it will be opening. So I will put a flyer in there. At least the officers are coming in. We're meeting often. So the flyer up there, people would see it and they can spread the word.
Got it. All right, then I think that's definitely a good base for kind of spreading this thing around. What I'd say is if you want to mail I can send the PDF around. If you want to mail that, email that to anybody, great. If you want to pick up a printed copy, maybe Judy can throw that to the print shop guy, and we can have a stack there. I will pick up a stack of, 15, 20 of them or something like that from her, and kind of blanket the, coffee and tea shops and places like that around town. Anybody who will let me. Yes, Cynthia.
I want to pick up a stack too. Just send me an email when they're ready and I'll stop in.
Got it. Excellent. Post flyers around town. Get from Judy. All right. Now, in terms of Veterans Day, we are doing a virtual, but there's still a physical component. Obviously, we're having a speaker. We'll still have people buy. If it's, I think we said we're planning for outdoor, but we've got our backup in the farmers market if need be. Obviously we'd love Mike to be our MC again. Always fantastic at that. We will have a, invocation. We will have, now what we don't know at this point is do we even attempt to bring in people from the band, or that's a little weird having people grouped together like that. I don't want to overload the physical portion, but I also don't know what is going to be, what you think is too much, yes, Judy.
So Mr. Jensen said that he was planning on putting together a small group.
Got it.
Last year they brought a number of kids. I think we were kind of surprised by how many kids they brought.
They brought a lot more than I thought last year.
Yeah. But he is planning on bringing some kids.
Got it. And we will tell them to dress in layers this year, because I think a lot of them thought they weren't going to have to dress up, and once they put the things up. So Jensen, small group. I will reach out to him to
Yeah,
find.
you might want to tell him like how many kids you want him to bring.
Got it. Yeah. All right.
Just
So
so
I
it
will.
doesn't waste anybody's time, because I hate for 20 kids to practice and then us say like, oh, we only want like,
Yeah, like,
five.
I want a quartet. Yeah. All right. Then I will call Jensen and sort of get on that radar. In terms of the war memorial is going to be there. If it is outside, we've got our flagpoles. Obviously, we had a problem with the flagpole last time, so I don't know if that's a city issue, if that's a maintenance issue or whatnot. But I do want to make sure ahead of time that we have working flagpoles. With Memorial Day, obviously we go up, we go down, it's halfway and everything like that. With Veterans Day, I don't think they move, but I also want to make sure that they're there and that it's functioning, that we don't show up and, it's sans flags because, somebody was moving. So I don't know who within the city deals with that. Like to make sure that we have, flags flying and lights on and everything like that.
Yeah. So the refresh my memory was last year was something like locked, like the flags weren't.
It was our virtual. It was our live of the Memorial Day, and we were trying to bring the flag to half mast, to raise it up and then bring it down to half mast for Memorial, but it was kind of like locked in there. It was not moving. So and
it was locked up.
Yeah. So for Veterans Day, we don't go up and down and everything like that. That's Memorial Day, but I do want to make sure that there are flags, that we're not just staring at empty poles. If they've got
Yeah, there's always flags there for sure.
Okay, I didn't know if.
Well, if we could also get VFW, American Legion, Canadian Legion to bring the American flag, not the post flags, and have them distance on that monument up there, that'd be good.
Yeah, we can bring both of ours. Canadian Legion can bring.
I'm trying to eliminate the amount of people. So if you just bring your national flag,
Oh, I thought you were saying.
That should be enough.
Okay. Yep. Just our Canadian flag is fine.
Yeah,
right.
I think that we got to do our.
What do you think, Willie? Same thing. Willie.
Oops, sorry, I had myself muted.
That's okay.
Yeah, Willie agrees.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so
okay, sound good to you? All right.
We want flags, but we limit people. I think was it the city or was that the VFW or American Legion that had they got nice stanchions last time? Because we had an issue where there weren't enough stanchions the first time, and then I think we had a surplus last time. So
Yeah, the city has nice stanchions.
Yeah, we brought extra, which we can just, if we don't need them, we'll put them back in the car.
All right. So for Veterans Day, obviously we don't have, we don't do, and we're not going to be doing wreaths or anything like that for Veterans Day. That's we don't have any of the other groups that have to be represented. But in the past, we have also reached out to city officials. I don't know. Do we even bring in commissioners, mayor? Is this something that we just sort of?
No, they'll come. If you invite them and they're able to attend, they'll attend. It's absolutely appropriate to invite them.
Okay, I just don't want to get anybody in trouble for being too close, or
Well, I think the mayor should say something. That's for sure.
If you're seeing because it's virtual, limit the number of people. I gotcha. Okay.
So I would like the mayor to be able to say something. Obviously, it's a city event. I just don't want to, I don't want to open it up for, political finger pointing and saying, you guys were irresponsible. So let me know if I'm packing too many things in or too many people as we get closer here. But I would like the mayor. I can reach out to him and see if he'd like to say a couple words. And I'll dig up an old, the printout from that day to find out where that sort of falls. But in terms of the virtual event, what I don't want to do is I don't want to try to do that mix and match sort of thing. Like we had a pre-made video and that was out there, and then we tried to have a live version. I would like to do just the our live event that we're broadcasting out, as opposed to doing like pre-made stuff beforehand or people send in things. I think that was a little too complicated for us in terms of trying to marry everything together. I think us having a physical event that we were broadcasting out, whether that's, I don't know if that's going to be WROK or whether we do that on Facebook Live, or we do both or something like that. I don't know. Who do we talk to about having a live feed on WROK on that day? Richard?
Well, a live feed for Richard is impossible unless it's inside the studio. He's not able to, he doesn't have a satellite or anything. He
Okay.
can't shoot live unless it's in the commission chambers.
Okay. If that's the case, then we can at least go to Facebook Live. If not, I know that there are ways you can do it with YouTube as well, but definitely we can do Facebook Live. We can actually do, I have a way of actually doing like multicam Facebook Live now too, where if we need to, we can sort of cut between different things. But I think a single camera trained on the, the podium with a decent mic setup. I can actually run a mic directly from the podium into the camera now. So we can get better audio.
So typically Richard films he's in the control room, so he can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he films it and then he should broadcast it at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that we did receive some criticism about the sound quality, and it turned out that some people that are deaf wanted everything to be subtitled so that they could hear. So one of the advantages to using YouTube is I believe they might be able to transcribe it for you. I'm not sure. But it is a
transcription, but I don't know if the YouTube Live thing works. Obviously, we can.
Yeah, so YouTube Live, my understanding of YouTube Live is you have to have like 1,000 followers before you can use YouTube Live.
Okay. So we'll look into those options.
Yeah, we either have to have super, super clear sound or we need to be able to transcribe it.
So what I have now is I have the ability to run an actual mic, like actual mic that we put up at the podium that people will speak into, and run a line directly into the phone that's transmitting to whatever live, so that we're not using the little tiny mic that's on the phone itself, but we're actually using one that's up there. So we will have that one so long as whoever's speaking is speaking at the podium. Otherwise the fall off is pretty there's not a lot of room for somebody from across the room. If we're using the mic that's on the podium, it's not going to have too big of a range, but the flip side is it sounds really good in that one area. So I can make sure that we have that ready to go to be able to broadcast on that day, whether it's outside or whether it's in the farmer's market. I can have the mic set up into that, but I'll look into either the YouTube Live or the Facebook Live. I hadn't thought about the 1,000 followers, but
I mean the other option is we could reach out to the court. They have people that sign for court cases.
Okay.
So I could see if somebody would stand behind whoever's speaking and sign whatever,
Okay.
sign. But I don't know what that costs. But maybe somebody would do it out of the kindness of their heart because it's Veterans Day, but I can check into that. That would be the other alternative. But I do think we need something for people that are hard of hearing.
Right. I hadn't even thought about that one before. And the problem with, like, I know that Facebook or that YouTube will kind of do an AI driven transcript after the fact, but I didn't know if they have that for live. But all right, so I'm going to put a note here by the whether it's the court signer or subtitles here. I'll make a note for that.
I think that's important.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Not for all things, but for this.
Yes. So speaker, invocation, Mike, our MC, mayor, Jensen's players. I don't think that that's too big, especially since we're going to be cycling people through. We're not going to be clustered. I don't think that looks irresponsible at this point in terms of the amount of people that we have there. And I think that we can keep it to a small, tight group that, obviously if people show up on their own, what I'd like to do, sort of like I did on the Memorial Day, is basically put markers. So if people do show up, if they just kind of walk up to the memorial, I would like to have things on the ground that are 6 feet apart. So, worst case scenario, we can tell people where to go and stand, everything like that. I just want to make sure that everybody's safe.
So I just have one more question. So there is something going out in Royal Oak today from the city manager, a column, and he does mention Veterans Day. I want to make sure that what we're putting out is true. So should I just try to make it vague, like there will be a virtual Veterans Day ceremony? Go to romy.gov/Veterans Day, and then we can just update that. We have some time with like the details.
I would, anytime we talk about the Veterans Day, I would talk about it in the terms of the virtual Veterans Day ceremony. And then if we can put a hard URL to that, romy.gov/Veterans Day, great. If we, the easier you make that URL, the better. But I would kind of go out of our way to not make it seem like, hey, show up on Veterans Day. Yes, Cynthia.
Okay, I'll definitely do that, because I think what it says right now is not that.
When does that go out?
Sure, I'm gonna change it right away.
Okay.
I'm gonna write an email while we're talking.
Yes.
Can we also mention the ROK run on 11/7?
Yeah, that's already in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Got it. So
Want to
yeah,
make sure.
if you can send out something saying, whenever you talk about the Veterans Day ceremony this year, that we call it the virtual Veterans Day ceremony. And we've got time to set up a URL, but if we can set up,
So what I'm thinking right now is, David, I hate to always put something on you, but if you want to send me something right now that I can put on our Veterans Event Committee page, which has information about the Memorial Day Parade, if you can give me something right now, that statement, then I will direct people that read Royal Oak Today to our Veterans Day Parade page. I'll give it an easy URL. And then as we get closer and we have more details and we know if it's going to be on YouTube or if it's going to be live or whatever, we can put those specifics. But if you can write, it sounds like you have something very clear in your head that you wanted to say. So if you can send that to me, I will add that.
Right.
And
as soon as we're
email to Royal Oak Today right now.
Okay.
Telling them, don't print until I give you the right quote.
All right, so then I will, as soon as we wrap here, I will send you the copy for the Veterans Day stuff as well.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent. And so if that's the what I want to talk about for ROK 22 and Veterans Day, obviously I want to open it up. Anybody who has any other ideas, additions, complaints, anything like that about ROK 22 and Veterans Day, feel free, chime in, let me know.
Do you have anything that you want the American Legion Honor Guard to do for the Veterans Day virtual ceremony?
The question I have is in terms of size. I would love, I love the flag folding, but I also know that adds a significant chunk of people to what is supposed to be a small event. What do you think of, the Legion? Do you think just having somebody there posted with flags, or what do you think we can do without going, full bore, everybody out there, flag folding, things like that? What's your thoughts?
I hadn't really thought about the flag folding. I was just thinking that Veterans Day is a day that you not only honor the veterans that are still living, but you kind of honor the veterans that have passed in the past year.
Yep.
And I've never actually attended a Veterans Day ceremony in Royal Oak. I don't know if the Honor Guard has ever done taps and have done the rifle volleys or not. That's what I was kind of halfway thinking about.
They always do that every year.
Yep. So
well, in that case, I'd better get to the Honor Guard captain and let him know that we're going to be looked upon to do the rifle volleys followed by taps, which basically ends the ceremony.
So do we? So the question then is, if the Legion does taps, is it a player or is it the recorded one? Because in the past, Jensen has offered to do a live taps. You know, all things being equal, I'd prefer it to be live. So what is you know, what does that look like?
I'll throw it out. I have no problem at all with Mr. Jensen performing taps live.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Legion should do the firing, the volley, and then Jensen should do the taps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He did an excellent job on it.
I'll be very honest with you. We have one person in my group in the Legion who does not like the live versions. He wants it recorded. He wants the bugle with the live, with the insert in it. I have no problem with it live.
But yeah, I would, you know, I always obviously defer to, I'd rather have a civilian play it live than a veteran hold a recording. But again, I could be moved, but I mean, that's always been my take on it. I just think it's more, I think it's more moving when it's a live performance as well. So Cynthia, you
He's a community member too.
Yes.
Pardon?
He's a community member too. I think that's important also.
No, it's okay. I got no problem with that. All I'm going to do is just going to let the honor guard captain know that we're going to be asked to do the rifle volleys, but we will have a bugle available just in case.
Got it. I'm a big fan of backups. So
Legion, well, I am too. And I'll give you one other thing real quick.
What's that?
I never do the bugle without checking the batteries. I've been stuck by it twice where I've given a bugle with a dead battery on it.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Hey, when you have to run out and find a 7-Eleven or somebody's got a couple of D batteries so that you can use the bugle when you got people waiting for you, it's a real pain.
Hey, I make a TV show and I've actually had to like leave a shoot and be like, I'm going to run to the 7-Eleven next door. Just hold on really quick and buy as many batteries as I can. So I've been there. Yeah, Cynthia.
Okay.
Again, I just want to say that this group has discussed this. Most of us are the same, and it's been live as long as we can get live. We're going to go live.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think we're all in agreement on that one. And we know the person who has an issue with it, and he hasn't showed up for public in a while. So, let's see, live Jensen, and now in the,
what about in regards to the anthems? What are we going to do about that?
Well, if Jensen, I'm going to call him this week. If he's got a small contingent of students who are going to play American, British, and Canadian, obviously we'd like to keep the size down. I don't want 20 kids showing up because that's going to just be a COVID chaos. But if he's got a group of 6 students and he plays as well, so I don't know if he would chime in with that. But if they can play the 3 anthems as well as something to sort of kick off the event, I'd like to have something up front, have them play the anthems at the point that we usually do, and then of course have Jensen play taps at the end. They come up with the arrangements that they usually do depending on the size, because the arrangements that they play are wholly dependent on how many kids that they're going to have there.
Okay, that'd be great if we can do it.
Absolutely. So, and of course, I mean, he as a teacher.
I will do the Pledge of Allegiance, so we will do that.
Yes.
But we should have the anthems too.
Yep. Maybe what I can do too is as I'm sending around the flyer that we're going to put out for the WROK 22 and Veterans Day one, is to send around sort of a rehashed version of the past printouts that we've done for Veterans Day ceremony in the past, knowing that we will have to cut some of the stuff out of there, but at least we'll have something that sort of keeps us on track. All right, live Jensen. So I will call him. I will call the mayor about speaking there. Vietnam Veterans 154. And then also speak at the commission meeting on the 12th. I'll get with Carol to see if there's any other meetings like right before Veterans Day as well, to either get on the list or to speak at public comment. I like doing it twice as the lead up, but I do like that she got me in early so we can at least get it on the books. But yeah, in terms of anything else for WROK 22 or Veterans Day that we want to bring up now? Nope. Excellent. All right. Well, then let's open it up to new business. If anybody has anything that we want to discuss moving forward, that's not sponsorship, that's not Veterans Day, WROK 22, whether it be new, new stuff for Memorial Day or either how we capture information. I know we talked a little bit in the past about sort of mimicking the St. Clair Shores approach, but I wanted to open it up for a new business if anybody wanted to say anything.
I stopped at the Oakview Cemetery office the other day. My honor guard was there for final honors for a veteran, and I just kind of casually asked the people there about ending the parade inside the cemetery. And I've been given a number of somebody to call. I haven't called her yet, but I want to also talk to John Winland, because my understanding is that before I became a part of this parade and Royal Oak Legion, that the cemetery was the ending portion of the parade.
He has told me that in the past, yes.
Pardon me?
He's told me that as well in the past.
Oh, okay. Well, I do plan to talk to somebody just to kind of lay out the thought that might be a possibility next year, but I do want to talk to John Wendland about it because he's been really involved.
Yeah, I know we had talked about the route. I don't know that we really had sort of laid it out, but they had in the past, I think we said the Historical Society had some sort of like the old document that showed the old path, and it kind of either snaked through or did something and ended up in the cemetery. I don't know. I don't know what that path is. Actually, let me pull up.
Actually,
I can tell you what it was. I can tell you what it was.
Oh, you're breaking up. Can you say it again?
First down.
Hello.
A stage. Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We marched down Main Street, and when you got to the cemetery, the parade broke up and people went to the staging area by the flagpole where the service was. There was a stage there and chairs.
We start because the cemetery's it's up there by Catalpa. So did it start higher up? Did it start as far down?
Yeah, it started around Frizzard's. We used to be there, which is a hotel now, or a high rise.
yeah,
Okay.
you know what? And I remember years, maybe 10 years ago, it used to actually start at the farmer's market because they would have that pancake breakfast and then people would march down the parade. So I'm pretty sure there were years, I could be wrong, that they actually shut down 11 Mile and walked.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. It came out of what, 2nd or 3rd Street? There might have been 2nd Street.
Yes. And then
Absolutely. It was a long walk. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And then John Wendland has the newspaper article from 100 years ago that shows that the parade started on Washington and then went down 4th Street and then went over to Main and then it stopped at the Clara Barton Junior High
School.
Maybe it was
junior
a high
school
then or something, and picked up a bunch.
It was a junior high.
Yeah, it's as it snaked around, more and more people got into the parade, and then it would end at the cemetery. The original parade route is really crazy, but it was a very long parade.
I'm looking at the map right now. If we planned on incorporating the sort of ending in the cemetery, one of the things that we might do is if we started higher up on Main Street, not down at 7th, but actually rallied sort of right there in the main drag just south of 11 Mile, and then marched up Main and had everybody kind of line by the new hotel and all the way up there. And then maybe what we do is we have people peel off at Catalpa and Gardenia who are not continuing on into the cemetery, whereas the veterans groups and folks actually go directly in there, and the non-military contingents can sort of peel off I don't know, buy bread or something like that. So it's something to think about that if we do integrate the cemetery and change up the route a little bit this year. My big question is how much, there's more traffic, I think, up on Main Street near the Crooks, Catalpa, Gardenia stuff. Is that going to be a police issue more than anything else if we kind of shut down the street?
Definitely.
Yeah, but you got to remember, it's 9:00 on a holiday. There's not going to be a lot of
That
traffic.
is true. You're not
It's not
doing
like we're doing it at 6:00 on a middle of the week on a work day. Like, it's 9:00 on Memorial Day. Everybody's in bed or whatever.
Oh,
Well, is that a day off of school? What's
Memorial Day?
no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Veterans Day. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, Veterans Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day. Everybody's off, obviously. So yeah, I think that would be. Now the other thing too is there is obviously construction right now on the new place there on Main Street, which will be wrapped up by then. But I don't know if are we taking anything away from the downtown if we move it north and northward so that we can incorporate the cemetery? I mean, I don't know that we're not sort of distant. Yes, Cynthia.
Sorry. But we got this beautiful downtown. We want people from downtown to be part of it. We want them to line up in the streets.
Well, that's what I'm
So
saying.
we can go north of, not 11 Mile, but I say Farmers Market. We line up in Farmers Market. I think we have plenty of time to work out the route. But I do believe that we need to include downtown.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, wait a minute. Why don't we just have the service at Farmers Market then?
I think we want to end at the cemetery, right? Because
you're talking
we're not going to have
long walk now.
That is. It's longer.
Is it any longer?
Yes. So it's longer
Well,
from.
if you go from
11,
Lincoln, you want to go downtown all the way to Catalpa. That's a mile and a half, isn't it?
We're not going to Lincoln. I'm talking 11 Mile. I'm talking.
Well, 11 miles not downtown.
But what I'm saying is
north of that.
But like Lincoln to 3rd is actually a much shorter walk than even 11 to the cemetery. So it's a longer walk.
No doubt.
Okay.
11 to the cemetery is probably. I mean, it's probably about 2/3 of the way. Our normal route is about 2/3 of the walk to the cemetery would be. So the question is for our Rosies, for the older folks and whatnot, do we take into account who's actually going to be in the parade? I mean, yeah, if it's all active duty folks and Legion and VFW guys who are used to drill and ceremony, that's one thing. But so that's something to take into account. Again, it's something that we can sort of hash out later on, but I can actually get the actual measurements here, but just from a mapping standpoint, 7th to 3rd it's actually just a little over halfway from 11 to Oakview. And if we started at Royal Oak Farmers Market and went over to Main and then up, that's adding in another block or so.
But everybody lined up south of Lincoln.
They did.
So I don't know. I just, I think you're right about the old people. I want to keep that. But I think the reason we decided to end up at the cemetery is because we're not going to have the monument.
Yeah, this year we'll have the monument. It'll be next year. What?
But Memorial Day 2021, it'll still be there?
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
I know, I'm confused.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have the monument for Veterans Day, but not
Isn't that the reason we decided to move the parade to the cemetery? Because we're not going to have the monument.
So what I've been told throughout history is that
we have the services. Go ahead, Judy.
No, so what I've been told, and maybe other people remember better than I do, but what I've been told is when the ceremony is at Oakview, they hold it in the back of the cemetery where the flags are, where the military plots are. That's where my dad's.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Those flags.
No,
not all the way in the back. Okay.
No.
So where
it's at the front of the cemetery where the original flagpole is.
Yeah, and
It's not back in the military section.
Okay.
By the horseshoe,
Yeah.
right in front of the office.
Okay. So what I was told is when they had the ceremony there, the attendance was never as good as it is when it's by the library, and they weren't sure that why people didn't hang around, and they're not sure like what the attraction is at the library. Is it more convenient? Is there more seating? Is it they go to eat pancakes afterwards? But
No, it's a cemetery.
It's a cemetery.
No, wait a minute.
But I was
I
thinking that
I
they
can
don't-
answer that question for you.
Okay.
I can answer that question. I've done it for years there.
Yeah.
By the time they walked from 11 Mile, wherever we started, all the way to the cemetery, at the gate now, okay? Then they had to walk all the way down to, I don't know, maybe a third of a mile to the left for the flagpole. And people were just spent. They didn't want to stay. They were tired.
Yeah, that's what I
And
heard.
that's why we didn't have a very good crowd. Now going back to downtown and going to the library area, that's very convenient. I mean, it's less than a block for everybody to walk over there and see what's going on. It's perfect. So I'm saying, why don't we think about having it in the new City Hall parking lot?
Yeah, exactly. Mike, I was going to say the same thing. The porch on the west porch of the new City Hall is a natural stage. And there's
Absolutely beautiful.
There's flagpoles right there. There's a handicap ramp for anybody that needs to get up, that needs some help. I think it's like the natural place to have it.
And it would draw a lot of interest too.
Would we take them all the way up to Second and then kind of go in by where Star Dreams is, or would we cut over on Third and then go up Troy?
I think you just go to third to the City Hall.
Okay, Cynthia, yes.
All right. So again, I think we have had this discussion, and it was decided the cemetery because we're not going to have the memorial, and the memorial will not be there. It's going to cause a lot of conflict with a lot of people. We already know that. I know the city is in transition. Believe you me, I think it's a great idea. It's the perfect place to have it. But it's going to really point out where that memorial is at this time. And I don't know where it's going to be. Is it going to be under tarps?
Yeah.
Is it going to be behind closed doors?
Well,
Are we
but
going to be
what does that
respectful?
have to I don't see what that's got to do with whether to have it at the cemetery or in the parking lot. What's the difference? The memorial's going to be where it's at.
The discussion was we have it at the cemetery because it brings back old school where it used to be. And it won't point out.
I say we get less people. If we go to the cemetery, I say we're going to get less of a crowd. I've done it for years there.
I absolutely agree with you, Mike. I absolutely agree with you. We have to know where that memorial is going to be at that point. Because
well, we can't control that. We're putting on a service for everybody in the city of Royal Oak. We're not talking about, okay, where's the memorial going to be? Who knows? Okay, we're doing the best we can. I think that's the best idea.
I agree. All right, I agree with you 100%. It's just that this committee has come up a lot of flack about the moving of the memorial, and they thought we were all responsible for it, which we're not. We're only responsible for putting on these events, and I agree that is the best place for it for the community is to have it at the new City Hall.
So the question I have is,
and that's if the rest of you could agree with that. I think it's for natural, but not being able to put it in at the memorial. I think it's a natural.
Okay.
Then the question is, do you think if we went back to the 7th to 3rd, do we go back to the thing where everybody who's basically going up to the ceremony gets up to 3rd, peels off, and then takes Troy up, and then whoever's not sort of peels off there and goes the other direction, or continues on, or do we have everybody kind of veer off at 3rd and then have them dump down that side street, like all the way back? I can't remember what we did last time, whether we had them turn left and dump off, turn left onto 3rd, or whether we had everybody turn right and then just kind of line up. I know the horses and whatnot were down there on 3rd, past Troy, but I can't remember what we had in the past.
I think the police will figure that out. Like that's what they're experts in.
What if we turned it 4th and went to Troy? You could get more people lined up on 4th Street.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a cool idea. It's different.
You go by the post and you turn left. You go by, right down Troy, right into City Hall.
Okay.
And you get more people lined up. You know how we make that turn going into the library? How crowded it is right there.
Well, that's the thing. 4th Street's a lot bigger of a thoroughfare than 3rd is, and
we're only talking 2 blocks, so we wouldn't be, wouldn't be that bad.
Perfect.
So maybe what if we went with that approach and we went up Main, turned right at 4th, and then we could either have everybody turn left and then head up Troy and then peel off at 3rd if they're not going to the ceremony, or we could do a thing where we basically well, I don't want to block off too much of 4th too, because that is a bigger street as well, or whether the people who are not, like, if the horses and whatnot don't want to turn left and go up Troy, we just have them keep going down 4th, because you've got you've got a lot of space there that you can also have people peeling off. I mean, obviously there's a parking lot by the Acorn Post that we can sort of have people kind of congregate in. I'm just thinking of, like, what do we have whatever we come up with, I want to make sure that, our Rosies and our World War II vets and whatnot have transportation to the rally point, and then have an easy way of getting off and getting to where they need to go. I mean, young kids, great, they can walk an extra mile and whatnot. I just want to be very conscious.
I think we should designate people, in our group here with somebody with kids or somebody that they're going to chaperone each group, like the Rosies and the World War II vet, to have them follow those people and to make sure they get them to where they're supposed to go.
Got it.
I think that's something we should do.
Yeah, the parking lot in front of the new City Hall is pretty big, so it'll be really easy. There's parking along the side off of 3rd Street that you could have vehicles ready to transport people back to their cars.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a nice turn right there.
I do. I mean, I like the idea of the throwback to the cemetery. I do think that, it's a longer walk. I think that we will lose people for the ceremony if we do it that way. I love the nostalgia factor, but I also want to make sure that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot in terms of getting people to stick around, especially given the fact that it's going to be a bigger ceremony. It's the 100th anniversary. So I understand both sides. I also think that whatever we end up deciding for Memorial Day takes into account the older folks who are going to be there, especially given the fact that we're going to have probably more World War II people than we probably have ever had. Yes,
you know
Judy.
what? One thing that my friend Mr. Wendland is, it's always nice to have a bathroom. And the library, of course, is never open on Memorial Day, but I'm pretty sure we could open up City Hall for anybody that needs to use the restroom.
That might work too.
There you go. That's really important.
I heard that's
Take
very
coffee out of you.
important for people of a certain age. I don't know.
Is the farmers market going to be open that day too, or no?
Farmers market will be open too, but I'm pretty sure there's restrooms and we can button down the whole lobby and people can go in, and if they need to get a drink or use the restroom, I think that should be fine. But I'll have to check, but I don't see why that would be a problem.
All right, let me make a note here. So route.
I always had a dream when I was commander that we should have, an all-day affair in the parking lot there at the market for Memorial Day with barbecues and kids rides and stuff like that. But,
oh my gosh, I love that idea. Oh my gosh, that would be such a fun idea for the 100th anniversary to have
it really would be. It really would be.
To have a barbecue, the world's largest barbecue, or a corn roast or something. That would be cool. But, but the people that do the pancake breakfast might not like the company.
Well, that wouldn't start till noon.
So just for our notes, option 1, the traditional rally point at 7th to 4th over to Troy to City Hall. Option 2 is somewhere south of 11 Mile, straight up Main Street to Oakview. I want to make sure that we get both in the notes that we discussed this and sort of the pros and cons of both. I can jot those down as well. This is, a long walk, older crowd, smaller ceremony, but
now that I think about this, do the people that rent out those porta potties, do they ever give you like statistics? Like how many, I wonder if like we should have porta potties sometimes at the end of the parade for people that need them.
I don't know. I don't know.
I wonder, do they get used? If they're not getting used, let's put them at the end of the parade where people like are really need.
I don't think you pay by the pound.
So
you can tell like how many times the door opens or how many times it flushes. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. After the parade starts, it's always a blur to me, and I always end up somewhere near the library wondering what the hell happened. So I, post parade is always is out of my mind. So I'd be interested in finding that out. So.
Honestly, I think it's mostly used by the parade workers where they're at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, the coffee.
Really,
coffee
you're having
and
coffee, and so.
Yeah. That's probably.
I just want to say that I am in favor of the city hall. I really am in favor of that. It seems like the best idea.
I just want to make sure that we get both of the options in our notes that we discussed it, and
Given in the minutes, Dave.
Okay, good. And again, it's far enough out that we don't have to we don't have to take a vote on it now. I just wanted to make sure that we got that down. Excellent. Was there anything else for new business that we wanted to get in other than the route? I know we've got some time out, but I wanted to open it up. Anybody? Okay. Well, if that's the case, then let's get us out of here and wrap this up. Can I get a motion to adjourn then at 8:27, knowing that there's going to be some artwork coming around for review by Thursday, and if it's approved, we can get that thing over to Judy and she can print that stuff by Friday, and we can start kind of papering up the places that allow it. And I've got my call to actions on those things. And obviously we still have our to-dos from our sponsorship that we had discussed beforehand. So can I get a motion to adjourn at 8:27 p.m.?
I will make a motion. Eileen making the motion.
Eileen, all right, second.
Cynthia will second.
Okay, we got a second from Cynthia. All right, all in favor. Do we have to go around the room again?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Aye.
All in favor of adjourning at 8:27? Aye?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
seeing you all.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's time and input.
Next meeting date? What?
Next meeting that I have down for us is
We're meeting in 2 weeks. We meet again.
Yep, on the 20th. Yep. I've got from 7 o'clock in Zoom on the 20th.
Okay. See you on the 20th. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.